歡迎大家出席。
Welcome to the media briefing today. The speakers today are Dr. Zhang Shouquan, Head of Communicable Disease Branch of the CHP, and Dr. Gladys Kwan, Chief Manager of the HA. Dr. Zhang will give us an update on the situation. Good afternoon. Last night, we recorded 136 PCR positive cases, including 20 from the HA, 14 from the CHP, and 102 from private laboratories. Also, there were 379 RAT positive cases. The total today is 515. Since the fifth wave, the total number is 1,225,220 cases, including 753,389 PCR positives and 452,133 PCR tests positive. Now, since the 2nd of June, through the rechecking, we have found 44 cases, that is 14% of the declared cases to be negative. We will delete those cases from our record. In the past 7 days, the average PCR rechecking negative rate was about 20%. Among the cases today, 42 were imported cases, including 31 PCR positive cases and 11 RAT positive. 18 cases were caught on arrival in Hong Kong, including 11 cases arriving on the 4th of June from 4 flights, and 7 cases on the 3rd of June, also via 4 flights. 20 cases were found at quarantine hotels. Also, there were several cases which tested positive after 7 days. They either had high CT values, which means that they are possibly re-positive cases, and 2 cases have low CT values. 1 case has CT value between 19 and 21, and arrival from the Philippines on the 23rd of May with activities in the community. The other case is a day on the 15th from Taiwan with CT value between 23 and 24. It seems that these cases were both infected in Hong Kong because they had local activities. We are going to analyze the genome sequences of these cases to see whether they are local cases or re-positive cases. For residential care home for the elderly, we don't have any new reports. Today is a school holiday, so there is no reports from schools. However, there is a school with a jazz dancing cluster. That is the Precious Blood English School. The last day at school, that is the 1st of June, there was 1 case who is a student. This student had activities with 2 other patients. The students went to school last on the 2nd of June. Altogether, there are 9 students and 1 teacher from that school's cluster. For deaths, the HA reports another 4 death cases. Altogether, the number reported by the HA is 9,095. The latest number during the 5th wave is 9,173. We also have 1 suspected BA.2.12.2 subvariant case of Omicron. That is a 38-year-old female living in Kowloon City, Sherlock Street, Kwun Dak Estate, Kwun Sing Mansion. A CTN has been issued for that mansion. She has 2 family members who were infected previously. They had symptom onset earlier on, so we suspect the woman to be a carrier of a BA.2.12.1. So besides the cases from Lan Kwai Fong, there are 36 cases related to the McDonald cluster who are suspected BA.2.1 cases, plus the 3 today. There are altogether 29 cases not related to McDonald cluster. However, their genome sequences are similar with the other cases. For the 4 bars, for Central, the outbreak is coming to an end. Still, we have found another customer and 1 helper to be infected. Altogether, from Central, there are 36 patrons and 1 helper infected, including 17 female and 20 males aged between 17 and 30. The earliest onset date was the 20th of May. The patient had a red eye and a runny nose. And from Iron Ferries, we have 3 more cases. They are all patrons. Altogether, there are 54 customers and 2 staff members infected, which brings the total to 56, 24 females and 32 males aged between 19 and 59. The person with the earliest onset was the 23rd of May. Some patients do not have symptoms at all. For leak, there are 13 more cases, which brings the total to 78, aged between 17 and 58, 50 males and 28 females. Among the 78 people, 27 visited the bar on the 27th of May, 45 patrons visited the bar on the 28th of May, and 2 patients went to the bar on both days. For Shuffle, there are 27 more cases, altogether 65 patrons and 4 staff members. They are aged between 18 and 41, 40 females and 29 males. The earliest onset was the 29th of May. There are also 9 staff members, with 4 tested positive on RAT. The onset dates of the staff members, however, are between the 2nd and 4th of June. 21 environmental samples were collected, 20 were tested negative. 1 sample from the toilet's doorknob was unconfirmed. We have advised the property owner to carry out thorough disinfection. Thank you. Now, Dr. Guan, please tell us about TMHK. Good afternoon. 349 patients are in treatment, with 34 being new patients. Among the patients in isolation facilities, 75 are in isolation wards. 11 patients are in second-tier wards. Some 34 students are in the North Lantau Infection Control Center with 22 new patients. Yesterday, there was 1 additional critical patient with no serious patient. Among the in-hospital patients, 11 are critical, 6 are serious, with 5 patients in ICU. And we have reported 4 more death cases. They all passed away yesterday, including 3 males and 1 female, aged between 68 and 98. The 98-year-old male patient has high blood pressure, cholesterol, and so on. He had 3 doses of vaccination. He was confirmed in May, and on 4th of June, he was found to be unconscious at home with a cardiac arrest and passed away before he was rushed to hospital. The 91-year-old female patient was bedridden with 2 doses of vaccination with diabetes and heart condition. In May, because of a food infection, he was hospitalized. On admission, the CT value was found to be 35. His situation was stable after discharge, and in June she was rushed to hospital and she passed away yesterday.
And another 85-year-old male, sufferer of Parkinson's disease and also heart disease. On the 11th of May, he was hospitalized because of lung disease, and the CT value upon testing positive was 36. And the situation continued to deteriorate until he died yesterday. And another male is 60 years old with chronic renal problem and heart problems. And he was found to be, on the 27th, he was found to be in a dire situation. And he died yesterday, and the CT value was 37. There are two announcements today. First of all, Queen Mary Hospital and trauma department, there is a nurse confirmed positive yesterday, and in tracing the cases, the 24 patients in the ward had been tested. The result is that one case is positive among these patients. The CT value is very low. The hospital will continue to investigate whether this patient had been a confirmed case before and whether it is related to this nurse's case. And the patient had been isolated. The situation is stable with the patient. The relevant ward is no longer taking in new cases, nor are there release cases from this ward from now. And there will be deep cleansing and for this ward. And then there are 3 doctors with the North District Hospital. They are waiting for further test results. And the last day was 2nd of June, last day of work. And in the past 14 days, they have not come into contact with confirmed cases, and they have donned PPE properly during this time, and there are no close contacts during this period in the hospital. And the testing are being done, and the hospital is providing deep sanitization, etc., in the area of work. And the 3 doctors and another 3 doctors had dined together outside of the hospital. These other 3 doctors do not have any symptoms, and testing will be carried out on them. And we remind all medical staff during COVID time, avoid attending large-scale events, including dining events. And if there is any participation in events, to lower the risk as much as possible. 29 patients had recovered, and 20 had been released from hospital. Till now, there are 50,497 patients already recovered, with 50,130 released from hospitals. Since the early 2020, there had been 62,877 patients recovered, with 62,510 released from hospital. There is one patient through in-hospital testing had been found to be a confirmed case, and an adjacent bed mate, the patient in the adjacent bed is construed as close contacts. So far, medical officers, a total of 23,502 had been recovered. 23,408 had gone back to their work. Question time. At the back, the gentleman over there. Greetings, AM 730. Central. Just now, it was mentioned that there's a helper. Is that a staff member, or what kind of identity is this person? Does this person have? And on the night concerned, what was he responsible for? And there is another new case with the subvariant BA 2.12.1. And where has he been to, and what are the investigations? As for the QM hospital, the nurse and the patient, what is the CT value? And is the ward open for visitations from relatives? For the central case, because we found the case in the staff list, and we found out upon contacting him that he's actually not a staff member, but he is there helping out with photography and stuff. And he did not come into contact with anyone else, nor was he drinking alcohol, but he was just present at the venue at the time. And the other 3 people, they belong to the same family. They have not been eating out during the transmission period or contagious period. So in their place of residence, there will be compulsory testing. As for the orthopedics and trauma ward at QM, 22.2 is the CT value for the nurse, and the patient is 40. This ward will not be taking in new patients, and there will not be any transfer or release of cases from the ward. Visitations will also cease. We will be contacting the family members of the ward to see how they can be helped for visitations. At the back, the one in black, please. Gratings cable. Concerning the Kowloon City BA.2.12.1 38-year-old case. Any further details you can provide, please? What is his line of work, and is he related to previous clusters? And Dr. Ko Wing-man, the FHD previous head, is suggesting that there should be a population-wide testing. How does CHP look upon this suggestion, and also in finding the relatives and cases around? And also the Christian Alliance School, it was mentioned that there are 5 cases and 4 of them belong to the same class. So have you found the route of transmission, and are there any common facilities that the students were using? If so, what? The 38-year-old woman suspected of BA.2.12.1, according to our understanding, we do not find any linkage with other BA.2.12.1 cases. But there are individual cases which are also located in Kowloon City. In the past, they had been in Wan Chai or Tai Kwu-shing, but now there are cases residing in Kowloon City, so there may be some silent transmission there as well. As for the Christian and Missionary Alliance Sun-K Primary School, they were in 2 of them were in 2A. Class 2A, so there may be some transmission within the classroom. As for expert suggestions, there are many of them, and the relevant authorities will be considering them on a timely basis. At the back, the lady over there, Ming Pao, greetings, doctors. Concerning Shuffle and Link, the 2 clusters, do we know which strain of virus it is? And the sequencing, genetic sequencing, are they similar between these 2 clusters? And for the 4 bars, how many people are still missing that we cannot contact for mandatory testing? Northern Territory Hospital ICU, there are 3 doctors who are tested positive through RAT, and they said that they have dined out with 3 other doctors. These 3 other doctors, are they in ICU service, or do they serve other wards? And with the 3 doctors confirmed as confirmed cases, is the service at the ICU affected, please? Iron Ferries and Central, there are each a few dozens cases which we cannot yet contact, or they haven't done their mandatory testing. And we have referred these to the authorities, and they may take certain legal follow-up action.
For the cases we uncovered today, they were caught through the compulsory tests done subsequently. Now the CTN has just expired. We still have several dozen of cases pending. For shuffle, the number is not the final number. The 3 doctors, 2 of them are doctors in the ICU, one is an anesthetist. In the new Territories East cluster, the ICU is running on a cluster base, so the service is not disrupted. Still, we will pay attention to the manpower situation. Not yet, because many cases have tested positive on RAT. We need to perform genome sequencing, and the results are still pending. Next question, the lady over there.
SCMP News, a few English questions. Dr. Chuang, regarding the club clusters, have you noticed any changes in the government indicators, like any serious or critical cases that might lead to a change in measures for social distancing for bars and clubs? And is the CHP currently comfortable with the numbers arising from the clusters? And my second question is, the 515 cases today is the highest since April 23rd, when 523 cases were recorded. May I ask, what is your interpretation of the current trend for the current wave? Thank you.
For those people involved in the club clusters, they're mainly quite young. So most of them have mild symptoms, including sore throat, fever, and runny nose. So for the central and the iron variants, the whole genome sequencing has come back, and this BA.2.2 is associated with the local circulating strain. So we have not observed any serious illness. This is also similar for the 2 recent club outbreak in the Link and Strafford, although we have not had the genetic sequencing coming back yet. So today the number is a bit higher, and as we mentioned in the past few days, the proportion of RAT, the rapid test antigen positive cases, is much higher than those test positive by the PCR. And we also noted that at least a proportion of them, they have been tested negative after we checked with the PCR. So, but all in all, I mean, even we added those tested positive in PCR and RAT, we noted that the actual number seems to be increasing a bit over the past few days. And also from the Hong Kong use, the estimation of the R and also the point preference. For the estimation of the R on the 28th of 5th is 1.353, so it's a bit higher than 1. So we did observe a slightly increasing number of cases in the past few days. But we also monitor the hospital admission and also the proportion of the severe and death, etc. So we have not observed any changes yet.
Next question, the lady over there. Good afternoon, I'm from Now TV. Now for the shuffle bars environmental sample from the toilet, why is it unconfirmed? Is it possible that the infection took place in toilets, and also are patients from the shuffle bar still classified as unknown source? Now we have some 500 cases. Most of them have unknown origins. Some of them are caught in the community. So a patient, either he has or has no symptoms, in a setting with no mask and a high frequency of interaction, infection may occur. For the environmental sample, it seems that there are viral gene remnants in the sample. The CT value is not high, so we can't confirm whether it is positive. Usually, we would treat the sample as positive. Now, the doorknob of the toilet is a place with high touch frequency, so it is not surprising that there is virus. The gentleman over there, hi, from TVB. In the past few days, most patients are from bars, and once again we have 400 to 500 cases per day. So how would you assess the social distancing measures? And what about the trend? Would the number hover around a few hundreds? And how would you assess the situation? Next month there will be a lot of festivities, occasions. Would Dr. Zhang advise members of the public to avoid these gatherings? Now, you said there are false reporting on the RAT declaration platform. So can you give us the number and is there a downward trend? This week's number is on the high side. We have a high proportion of RAT positive cases as well as PCR positive. For RAT, maybe 1/5 of them are possibly negative cases due to various reasons. It may be a genuine negative result, or it may be false reporting. That is not the sample of the reporting date. Having subtracted those numbers, the number is still on the high side. The R figure of the HKU, that is the real-time effective reproductive rate, stood at 1.13153. That is higher than 1, so there is a possible upward trend. There is a correlation with the relaxation of social distancing measures. Some people have been recently infected, but there are people who are not fully vaccinated, and they may cause infection in the community. So it is rather difficult to fully protect yourself against infection. However, vaccination is effective against severe complications or death. So if you cannot, so there are bound to be activities. So the important thing is take all the precaution measures and get fully vaccinated. About the rechecking of RAT cases, the number today is lower. Only 14% are tested negative on retesting. For the past 7 days, the negative rate was 20%. So in every 5 reports, 1 would be actually negative. The last question, please, the lady over there. Hi, I'm from Hong Kong Economic Times. Now, the Queen Mary Hospital patient, how long did he stay in hospital, and did anyone visit him? Is it more possible for the nurse to get the patient infected, and what is her CT value? And the student today, does he belong to a new class? The six doctors from the North District Hospital, which diner did they go? Now, for the Philippines and Taiwan, the arrivals were tested on arrival 7 days after arrival. So, do the viral strain contain L452Q? And will all the RAT cases today be rechecked with PCR? The school you mentioned, the student belongs to another class, but he did have activities with the 2 other patients from another class. So we suspect the infection took place outside of the classroom. We didn't advise the class to be suspended. We will continue to monitor the situation.
As for the two cases from Philippines and Taiwan, 33-year-old female, Philippines, and 41 male from Taiwan. Preliminary genetic sequencing results have not come back yet. As for QM orthopedics and trauma ward, it is 22.2 CT value for the patient. I do not have visitation arrangements concerning this case. Now, as for the case, what exactly is the transmission route between this case and the nurse's case? We are investigating the same. And as for the other question concerning North Territory Hospital, we are also still looking into it. Thank you. End of session.